Hello, everyone. I'm here with Paul Daly, one of my good friends from college and also one of my clients and one of my best success stories as well. And I can't claim credit for it. He did all the work, but he was kind enough to join me on here today because number one, he's reached his goal weight. Everyone needs to know that and celebrate. So if you know Paul and have him on Facebook, reach out to him. He's dropped about 30 pounds, 30 plus pounds. He's down to about 180, 181 from a high. I think he started about 215, and so he's reached his goal weight. And it's a real, it's a milestone, because, he's put in the work. He's put in the hard work in the kitchen, in the gym, doing everything he needs to do, sticking to the plan, sticking to the process, and understanding that there's a long game involved here that we need to accept. And that includes dealing with the disappointment and frustration that we inevitably feel along the way. That being said, now that he's reached his goal weight, and I shared this with him a little earlier before we started recording, was the real work begins now and moving forward. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, anybody can lose weight. Anybody can start on any diet they want, doesn't matter what it is, as long as they're eating in a caloric deficit, they're going to lose weight and they can get down to whatever goal weight they want to reach. Now, here's the problem. It's what happens next that really causes those issues for them, because people think diets have a begin date and an end date. And then once they reach that goal, they're done. No more work is going to be completed. From here on, I can go back to doing whatever. And now you have to find that plan where you can either maintain just a healthy lifestyle, which the majority of us, that's what we want, or if there's another goal you want to attain moving forward. So now that Paul, has reached his goal weight, we've talked about how now we're looking at maintaining that healthy lifestyle moving forward. So he doesn't have to go back to square one ever again. He can just continue doing what he's been doing and do just fine. So Paul, share with me your thoughts, on just what it's going to be like making that somewhat and really seamless transition for you to now, all right, I've reached my goal. Now here's what I'm going to do next.
Well, the one key, there's I guess a couple of keys. First is the fitness aspect of it. And I am fortunate in that I do run regularly, and I had been a marathon runner for roughly 10 years from 2007 to 2016. And while I'm no longer running marathons, I am still consistently running now probably 4 times a week. And like last week, I ran a full marathon. It took me 5 days and 4 runs to do it, but I ran 7.5 one day, 7 3/4 the next. Then I ran a 6 and a 5, and it added up to 26.25. So, today I ran 5.1 in honor of my 51st birthday. And I ran 3 yesterday. So I'm already at 8 for the week, and I'll run 2 more times, probably just to try to get to at least 20. And so one of the keys is that I'll probably consistently try to run 20 miles a week, which is a good way to burn somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,500 to 3,000 calories. I'm running here down in Houston, Texas, which is very humid year round. And at this time of year, it's also pretty darn hot. We're going to be in the mid 90s for highs. We're setting a few records, but even in a regular year, we'd probably be hitting 90 around this time. And so all summer, I'll be able to run, instead of running 3 miles 3 times a week, I'll probably run 4 times a week and maybe run 5 to 6 miles on average at each time. The other thing, I am fortunate in that I have a gym membership at 24 Hour Fitness that I purchased in 2005. And it was one of those weird deals that they offered at the time where it was $880 and you got 3 full years. And then after that, it's $53.04 in perpetuity every year. So when you only have to pay $53 to have a membership to a gym that has access to lots of free weights, lots of different machines. They do also, if it gets so hot or raining to where I don't want to run outside, I can run on treadmills, and they have stair steppers and ellipticals and all this other stuff, to where basically from an availability standpoint, I can never use the excuse of, I don't have the opportunity to work out. I don't have the facility. I don't have the needed equipment. that will never, I'll never be able to use that excuse and look myself in the mirror because I'll know it's just untrue. And then also the other big key has been just minor modifications in my diet. I wouldn't say I was, I never would say I had a terrible diet. It just needed a little tweaking in that it was a little bit high on some days in carbs and or fat. And so when you kind of just lower those, you got to up the protein in order to lower those. And you got to kind of realize, and you can get protein from a lot of different sources. A lot of it is protein shakes that can run expensive, but also if you do it right and you really investigate it, you can get a lot of good protein just from the food you eat, whether you're eating lots more fish, lots of chicken and turkey. Those three in particular all have higher protein counts while at the same time having lower fat and lower carb counts that maybe, and even pork to an extent is pretty good in that regard. Sometimes beef, depending on if you're not making it at home, if you're going out to get it, sometimes beef can be a little bit high in the fat content. So you may want to, if you eat a lot of beef, you may want to be cognizant of that, or you may want to switch over or just kind of limit that. The other thing is, the other key really is you got to kind of watch the carb and the fat heavy foods. And that can be, you know, everything from burgers to, you know, especially like the French fries, that kind of thing. And, or if you get a lot of pastas, you know, those are really carb heavy. Hopefully if you know, you may not be fat heavy. You can kind of do one or the other. You don't want to do both. And if you do both, that's where you that's at least when I did both, that's when I gained weight. So obviously the other key is just being consistently keeping track of your caloric intake and the right kind of calories. And the one key again, and this will obviously everybody's different, their tastes are different, but try to get a lot of fresh homemade salads. You know, like when I went to the grocery store the other night and I'm going to make some salad today, you know, I got a big head of lettuce, I got some Campari tomatoes, and then I got a purple onion, and I got some stalk of corn that I'm going to cut up and put in there. And that really will, you know, those salads are really kind of great calories for you in that they're really high in a lot of the good stuff. And they're generally speaking very low in fat, just very low, to where if you get the salad and you put on, even if you put on like the lean chicken, or even the lean beef, you know, you get the beef fajita meat that you can get at the grocery store and add that to your salad. That's going to still be pretty lean and will really make for a good salad. And you get a lot of really good calories that way, especially if you use a light dressing or just an oil and vinegar, which is kind of real popular, which is very low in calories. And it's just all about consistency, making the good choices consistently. Obviously, going forward, I won't be trying to lose any weight. You know, I initially, when I signed up, I said, well, let's get down to 190. And then when I started losing the weight, I realized, well, I really could go to 180. Because obviously, every human being, you're going to have a fluctuation on a daily basis. You know, sometimes a couple of weeks ago, I went out, I woke up at the first thing in the morning and I said, I'm going to do my 6-mile run. I ran my run, came back, showered, cleaned up, stepped on the scale. And for the first time in many years, it said 179.8. Now it's a little bit fake because obviously I was completely dehydrated at that point. I was running in 80 something degree weather. I did not stop for water in the 6-mile run. So, or even if I did not drink nearly enough. So I was a little dehydrated. After I woke up, I was probably like 183. And so you can kind of fool yourself or fake it if you want, but that's not going to last. So you got to kind of, when you weigh yourself, do it consistently first thing in the morning, right when you get up. And then going throughout the day, you're just based on your food consumption and other issues, water consumption in particular. You may drink a whole lot of water and gain 2 or 3 pounds, but you'll eventually lose it. And, you know, but it's just trying to be again, consistently making, you don't have to make perfect choices, but you got to make good ones or better ones consistently. And that's what I hope to do over, you know, really the rest of my life is now, of course, with the MyFitnessPal app, that where you're able just to track your food every day. And, I still go out and have beers with friends every once in a while, maybe once every 6 weeks or something, where you're going to have a day where, you got to know, hey, if I'm drinking a beer and it's usually 180 calories, that you kind of want to limit it, but at the same time, so you can have those cheat days or cheat meals or cheat beers with the buddies. But you just kind of got to put it in perspective and understand that in order to have those days, you got to continue your exercise plan in particular to burn those calories. And the other thing that that at least I do a little bit now, instead of when you're in the evenings or in the mornings or whenever you have your free time, weekends, instead of sitting around watching TV all day or doing nothing, to go out for a walk. Go see nature, go fishing, go gardening, do something that's going to require a little exercise while at the same time being outdoors. And it will burn calories for one thing. And that's a real kind of a nice way to burn calories or something fun to do. If you have young children, obviously you want to be as healthy as you can for them. Go do fun stuff with the kids somewhere. Take them to the zoo, take them to the lake or wherever, and just try to keep up with your kids. And that will burn a lot of calories too for a lot of young couples. So life's been good. Initially, again, when I started this process, I thought, well, I'll try to lose 20, maybe 25 pounds to 190. And then, it really just kept snowballing where everything was working so well. Your motivation has to be yourself. It really does. It has to be improving yourself to where you can be and improve others, improve your relationship with others and have better relationships with others, whether it's just on a health standpoint. So
I know it's simple, not necessarily easy, but it's simple. And here's the thing. Most diets that people take on, it's not the diet itself. It might not be the diet for you. It might be too restrictive, something you can't manage long term. So even when you get to that goal weight, you have to make a pretty big transition to go to plan B, to go to what's next. And that's the hard part. So if you keep things simple, as Paul and I have done throughout, from day one of his journey, when it comes time to pat ourselves on the back for a job well done, and now move forward from there, it's really not a huge transition at all, because, hey, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing and putting our best foot forward. And we know we're going to get results because we've gotten results up to this point. I mean, it really is that simple, folks. So take it from me. If you don't take it from me, take it from Paul. He is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's not rocket science. It doesn't have to be restrictive. It doesn't have to be unmanageable. And it doesn't have to be tremendously and ridiculously hard. If you just find a plan that works for you and you follow it and you show that consistency and that patience, you do that, you're going to be golden, folks.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulate Paul on reaching 180 and congratulate Paul on his birthday as well.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Paul. Appreciate it, folks. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.